Hey y'all, Jay here. I'm coming at you with a couple tech tips. I get frequently asked at live shows and in recordings how I get the guitar tone that I get, etc., etc., etc. So I wanted to take a minute to share with you what I learned from an actual guitar tech. Full disclosure, not a guitar tech at all in any way, shape, or form. Now, a few years ago, I had a really good conversation with a guitar tech who is a tech for a rather well-known artist. I happened to be on the same stage that day, had a great conversation, showed me a few things, so here you go. One of the things I found to be incredibly invaluable is this right here. Yeah, boy. Dr. Duck's Axe Wax. I use it on the fretboard, also to clean it up, that sort of thing. I've had that particular bottle, I think, for about 2 years now. It only takes a few drops, and you're good to go. Keeps the fretboard conditioned, keeps it from being sticky, especially at outdoor events, because I think we all know as guitarists that happens a lot. And I'm not a big fan of the other products on the market. I'm sure they work fine. I'm sure lots of people are going to say lots of things. Good for you. I don't like it. Probably the most frequently asked question is, what's my preferred guitar string? So here you go. Right there. Those strings right there. Stringjoy mediums. Now when I'm doing a lot of shows, it gets to be fairly cost preventative, even though these strings last quite a while. But when I'm doing a lot, and most of them are outdoors during the summer, honestly, when I'm on the road and I can't get these, I just use Diodarios. Now this is a little more specific to the 3-per-side headstock acoustic guitar setup. And that is, when I tune the guitar, I tune from the center out. In other words, I bring up the center 2 strings, almost to tension, but not quite. Then I move to the next 2, then I move to the outer. And then I just repeat that again to bring it fully up to tension and tune. Now what I notice when I use that tuning method is a much more balanced and stable tone out of my guitar. Now I always ran into issues with boominess or real spikiness or just that ice picky sound on the high strings. When I do it this way, I don't get that, and when I plug it in, it sounds great. In fact, I get a lot of compliments and questions about my guitar setup when I go play live. Now, I prefer a compensated nut on all my guitars. In fact, several of them have compensated nuts, and I don't generally play those with other guitar players because it always creates this chorusy effect because acoustic instruments are sort of, or specifically acoustic guitar, is the intonation is not stellar most all the time. Now, this is a question I get frequently from other guitar players trying to figure out my songs and how I'm playing them, etc., etc. And I don't view this as a competition, so I'm just going to tell you. I generally just don't tune to 440. If I do, it's down a half step. I don't personally care for the sonic characteristics of my guitars tuned to 440. It's a personal preference. Right, wrong, and different. Don't care. Doesn't matter. That's what I do. Now, depending on the song, I'll either be down a half step from 440, plus it makes it easier to play, and as some of you know, I have a degenerative nerve disease, so I need all the help I can get. But honestly, a lot of times, and the reason people always ask me, hey, when I play that G, it doesn't sound right, doesn't sound like what you're playing, it's because I'm playing in 432. If you don't know what that is, look up different tunings, different voicings. There's lots of open tunings and things, but 440 is standard. There's a lot of very heated debate from a lot of people about the 440 being right or 432 being right. I don't care. What sounds good to my ear is what I do. If it works better for the song, I run it in 432. If it works better in 440, I will do that as well. So I encourage you to experiment and find what works for you. I know there's some common rules, but it's your art. And you're the one creating it. So you make your own decision. Now, I believe that your hands make the biggest difference in the world in any instrument. I've seen phenomenal guitar players take a total crap box and blow me away. I'm not that dude, but you get your sound right here. All those gadgets and things are cool and fun. The latest, greatest, coolest coated strings or whatever. That's great. Those are all fun little things to do. They're right here. That's it. This thing right here. That's probably the most important tip I could give you. So to recap, I keep my fretboard hydrated. I use nut lube, insert bad joke here, which is this stuff here, not associated with them at all in any way, shape, or form, but it works. I've had that bottle for like 2 years. Just takes a couple drops. It's phenomenal. These are my strings of choice. Have been since I heard about them. I got lots of friends in Nashville who use them all the time. But again, when I can't get them, or I'm going through them like crazy because it's a crazy summer or whatever, and there's strings being changed a couple times a week, I just use regular old Diodarios. I tune from the inside out, or vice versa. I don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Always in pairs, always opposing pair, starting in the middle, going to the outside. And I never tune one string up to full tension before tuning everything else up. I get everything up gradually to close to tension and then fine tune it in that pattern. Lastly, I don't always tune in 440. I tune in 432 or down a half step of either of those two or both, depending on what the song calls for and what feels right, to be honest. Now, this isn't a new topic by any stretch of the imagination. Everybody has their opinion, and I'm sure you do too. And that's great. Just telling you what I do. Now, when I tune, I use my tuner to get really, really close, and then I finish it off by ear. Now, if I run everything up to perfect pitch or whatever on the tuner, it never sounds quite right to me. So I fine-tune by ear, and it's always off according to the tuner, which is fine. If I'm playing with a large group, I'll make sure everything is right. But I do what sounds best. I put it where it sounds good to me. Now, if you're an acoustic guitar player, specifically, I would encourage you to go check out James Taylor's video. Yeah, the James Taylor's video about how he tunes his guitars. That did more for me than any books or videos I've ever watched regarding tuning. I gained a much better comprehension of the relationship between the strings. And quite frankly, when I use that method, it just sounds better. Plain and simple. Anyway, there you go. If you have any questions, I'd love it if you leave me a comment. If you consider subscribing, there's going to be more content like this coming. If not, have a rad day. Know that you're loved and appreciated. Be kind to one another and do the right thing always. Next time.